Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum, and today we are taking a look at a Hills patent Stanley Bulldog revolver. Big thanks to Select Fire Weaponry, by the way, for loaning this to me to film. It's definitely not Select Fire, but this was actually a really interesting rabbit hole to get into because this gun is clearly marked Hills patent, and yet Hill doesn't have a patent on this. So I recognize that gun's really tiny from back there, so let's just go straight into a close-up so I can show you the cool mechanical feature this has and also the legal fiction under which it was marked. Let's start at the top and work our way through the various layers of this gun. So if we take a look at the barrel, we can see that it is marked Hills patent number 263. On the opposite side, it is the Stanley Bulldog. We have a trademark lettering and design there from the manufacturer. And down here below the cylinder, we have Joint Patents Stanton & Co. and a serial number that is C and then 33,000 and change. So what's going on here is this is a revolver that was made by one particular company, and unfortunately I haven't been able to track down who actually made the basic guns. They might have been Belgian made and then brought into England for proofing, because English proofs were definitely a benefit. They looked better than Belgian proofs on the market at the time, or it might have been actually manufactured in the UK. I'm just not sure. But what we have is a basic revolver, and our serial number here is the serial number from the actual manufacturer. Hills patent here refers specifically to the automatic ejector mechanism, and the serial number there, 263, that's not a patent number, that's the serial number of the number of Stanton's guns, Stanton & Co. guns, that were made with this extractor system. So the company made guns of various different patterns, serialized them all in one sequence, probably, and then they marked a separate sequential run of serial numbers on Hill's patent guns because presumably they were paying Hill a royalty for use of this patent. So you will find these, by the way, in a variety of configurations: blued, nickeled like this one, longer barrels, shorter barrels. This short barrel version is the Bulldog. When you find the longer barreled ones, they're typically marked the Stanley, not the Stanley Bulldog. Variety of calibers. This particular one is in 450 caliber, which is basically this guy. This is a case cut down, manufactured from 45 Colt, but this was a pretty typical British pocket revolver cartridge at the time. You'll also find these patterns of guns made in 32 and 38 caliber. Again, rimmed British cartridges from the period. Now what makes this cool is it doesn't have a separate ejector rod here. We have a button on the bottom of the barrel there, and when you open this, you can then unfold this backwards, kind of like a feng yu, and at the end of stroke there is a spring here with a central star ejector that's going to kick out all the cases. All right, so I actually have a couple rounds of fired brass of this stuff from a different pistol. I was going to take this one out to the range to do some demonstration shooting with it for you guys. However, the lock work is really not in good shape on this one, so when I have the trigger pulled and the hammer down, there's a lot of play in the cylinder, and I frankly just don't trust it out on the range. So no shooting footage, I apologize, but I can show you how it ejects because we now have it loaded with empty brass as if it has all been fired. You unlock this latch at the bottom of the barrel and then tilt it all the way back, and there you go. Spits out your cases. You can then reload it here, clip it back together, and it's ready to shoot again. Now the next step is I want to find out more about this ejector system. So it's Hill's patent. If you are a huge firearms nerd, you may have a book collecting all of the British small arms related patents over about 50 years. And I've already done this, of course, so I know where to look here. We're going to go to the name index. We're going to look up Hill, and I happen to know that we are talking about W.J. Hill. He was out of Birmingham, and so he has patent number 3645 from 1878. There's the patent. This is provisional only, and it has nothing to do with ejectors or extractors. This has to do with the lock work in a revolver, and it really doesn't apply to this thing. As it turns out, there was a Belgian inventor by the name of Dupuy-Joissart who actually patented this system in 1873. So not only does Hill's patent not apply to the system, it also postdates the actual patent on this system by 5 years. And this Belgian inventor actually developed this first to put on what appear to be like Gasser pattern revolvers. The lockwork is not Gasser on the inside, but they look like Gasser pattern revolvers, and they have exactly this style of auto ejection, like break open the frame over the top style of ejection. And patented this in Belgium and went on to sell it. They're listed in catalogs. You can see pictures here. These pictures, by the way, are from littlegun.be, a fantastic reference website on Belgian firearms of this period. So the question is, what was Hill doing here? What's this Hill patent thing? And as best I can tell, the answer is Hill didn't have a patent. He just stole the idea because it is really blatantly the exact same idea as Dupuy-Joissart had in Belgium. And Hill found a manufacturer who either didn't know or didn't care and was willing to pay him a royalty on the mechanism. Almost certainly a manufacturer who didn't know, because if they knew that Hill didn't have this patented, there'd be no reason to put Hill's name on it or give Hill any money. I don't have any actual documentation of Hill getting paid, but that's kind of the obvious implication of his name being stuck on the guns and them being serialized. By the way, I've only seen these up into the mid 3 digits. I've never seen a 4-digit serial number on these. It's like 2s, 4s, 500s is what I've seen. So production of these wasn't that many. I don't know what the end outcome was for Hill. Did the manufacturer find out that he didn't have a patent? Did Hill move on to other things? Sudden attack of conscience? Who knows what? But not a whole ton of these were manufactured. And it's interesting, until 1883, British patent law didn't actually specifically prohibit you. There was no penalty in the legislation for marking something as patented when it actually wasn't. That was introduced in 1883. Now, before that, it probably would have been punishable to do this, but only based on case law, and presumably only if someone actually sued you for it, and with relatively low production, with the relative difficulty of communication, especially compared to today. You know, if you want to prove this sort of thing, there's a lot of international travel back and forth involved, and you know what? Maybe it's just not worth the cost. Like, how much can you go after W.J. Hill of Birmingham for if you are this Belgian gunsmith? You have to take time off of work, you have to pay for a lot of travel or hire lawyers to do it for you, and if you can't actually collect at least as much as it's going to cost you, is it really worth your time and effort to try and pursue the guy? Even today, the answer to that is often, not really. And back 150 years ago, 100 years ago, that would have been, those circumstances are even more so. So that is the Hill patent revolver, which, in fairness, we ought to be calling the Dupuy-Joissart ejection system. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. This one turned out to be a lot more interesting than I had originally anticipated. I thought we were just getting into a kind of a neat mechanical system, and it was only upon deeper investigation that I realized the whole legal side to this one. So I couldn't have done this without the help of a number of people. Select Fire Weaponry out of Waukesha, Wisconsin for one, for loaning me the gun to film, and then also Bloke on the Range for some insights into the British patent law, patent system. Although, to be clear, all the conclusions that I make in the video are mine, not his. And also Hélène Dubresse, who runs littlegun.be, which is a fantastic, probably the most fantastic reference resource out there for Belgian-manufactured small pistols, revolvers, Flauberts, and other pistols from the late 1800s, very early 1900s. Magnificent website, tremendous amount of information there. And if you're looking for this sort of vintage, definitely check out his site. Anyway, thanks for watching.